So we're going to learn about complementary angles, supplementary angles, adjacent, linear pair, and then vertical angles, which I already mentioned when we were going over the homework. Okay? So to start, complementary angles are simply angles that add to 90 degrees. Okay? So if I said I had an angle that's 60 degrees, what would its complement be? 30. If I said I had an 89-degree angle, what's its complement? 1 degree. If, Phil, I had a 45-degree angle, what would its complement be?
45.
Well, 45 plus what is 90 is the question.
Phil.
Or 90 minus 45 is 45. 45 plus 45. All right. So now, what if I said that I have 112 degrees? What's its complement? It doesn't have one. Okay? All right? So yesterday we talked about the idea of acute angles, okay, are less than 90 degrees. So is it possible for an obtuse angle and an acute angle to add up to be 90 degrees? No. Okay, so think about that. All right, so moving on. If complementary angles are angles that add up to 90 degrees, supplementary are angles that add up to 180. Very good. Okay, so doing the same thing, raising our hand. Okay, if I give you 120 degrees, what's the supplement to 120? 60. If I give you 150, what's the supplement? 150.
75.
Try again. You said 150 plus 75 is 180. What's the supplement to 150? You got it? 130. Okay. All right. Okay. What if I said 90 degrees? What is 90 degrees supplement? 90 degrees. Okay. Adjacent angles. If I were to ask, like, what does the word adjacent mean?
Aren't they like the ones that were adjacent? It's like
Not across.
that's right across the stats guy.
No. Phil? All right. So adjacent angles are simply angles that are next to each other like this. Okay? So like angle 1 and angle 2 are next to each other. The key concept to this is understanding that they share a side. They have to share a side, and we talked about sides of an angle yesterday. Okay? Questions with that? All right. So then in example 1, they tell us that ABC is 23 degrees. What is its complement? How about Ashley? What is the complement to 23 degrees? Nate? 67. Explain to her how you got that.
You subtract 90 from 30, or from 23.
So how about 23 from 90?
Yeah.
Okay, so 90 minus 23 gives us 67 degrees. Okay? What's the supplement to 23?
Oh. That's a big number. Oh.
Yes, it is a big number.
167.
Not 167,
157.
157. So 180 minus 23 equals 157 degrees. Okay? So all you have to do is understand complementary 90, supplementary is 180. So one of the things that I use to kind of help you is understand that C comes first in the alphabet ahead of S. Do you agree with that? All right. Does 90 come before 180 on the number line? So the first letter goes with the first number, the second letter goes with the second number. So that could help you. C goes with 90, S goes with 180. Okay? All right. In example 2, it says that the two angles, LMN and PQR, are complementary angles. Okay, so find the measure of LMN, or find the measure of the angles if LMN is 4x minus 2 and PQR is 9x plus 1. What does it mean if they're complementary angles? They add up to 90 degrees. So Elliot, can you give us the equation?
I got it.
4x minus 2 plus 9x plus 1 is equal to 90.
What do you think?
That's impossible. No. No. Okay, so.
How's that impossible, Nate? Tell me.
Wait, okay, so Nate, what's wrong with it?
Oh, no, I thought he said no.
Okay, so this is correct. The sum of the two angles equals 90 degrees. All right, go. Solve for x. You all agree at the table? X equals 7 is correct. Okay? All right. You didn't get 7?
I got 91 over 13.
And 91 divided by 13 is 7. So it does work. Okay? So you just got to simplify it. Okay? And then if you plug it back in, it should work. You should get 28 minus 2 or 26. And then 63 plus 1, which is 64, and 26 and 64 will add up to be 90. So there's your check, okay? Part, talking about the idea of a linear pair and vertical angles. The linear pair I'm going to spend a little bit of time with just because I want to make sure that we understand. Because there's a couple different pictures I got to kind of work through. A linear pair is basically a set of angles that is adjacent, so they are adjacent angles that are supplementary. So not only are they next to each other, but they add up to be 180. So think about this. What are the first 4 letters of linear? Line. So that means together they form a straight line. So this is what it would look like. Because not only are they sharing a side, but since they're next to each other, together they're creating a line. Okay? So I'm going to go through a couple of examples. You don't have to write these down because I don't want them to confuse you later. Okay? If I gave you this angle, and it was 120, and randomly over here I put a 60-degree angle like this. Are those a linear pair? Why not? They add up to 180.
It's not a straight line.
Together, they're not a straight line. So they fit the second criteria, but they don't fit the first criteria. Okay? All right, so now if I did the following, okay, where I said this is 120 and this is 60, is this a linear pair?
Yeah.
Because now they're next to each other, they're sharing that side, and they add up to 180. Okay? Well, eventually we're going to talk about parallelograms. Well, opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent, and adjacent angles are supplementary. So like the ones next to each other like this, 120, and this one's 60. Is that a linear pair? Is this angle and this angle a linear pair?
No.
Are they sharing a side? Together, are they creating a straight line? Does it look like this? No. So, these are supplementary, but it's not a linear pair. Okay? They have to be sharing that one ray in order to make them linear. So, I want to make sure that you understand that idea. Okay? Questions with that? So, linear, big thing is they have to create a straight line. They're adjacent and supplementary. Okay? All right. Vertical. We kind of talked about this a little bit already. I'm going to explain it the best with a picture, and then I'm going to talk about our first theorem. We've had a couple of postulates, but not theorems yet. Okay? So, vertical angles, to start, are created when two lines, or it could be more than two lines, intersect, such as this. Okay, and remember, lines, remember we said are straight, not bent. Okay? So, we have this situation. Okay, when I do this, if this is, say, 150 degrees, what's this angle to the right of it? 30. What's this angle below the 150? 30. What's this angle in the lower right-hand corner? 150. All right. So what do you notice about the angles? What's a concept that we already talked about? All right. All four of them add up to be 360.
They're complementary.
They're not complementary.
Supplementary.
Supplementary. So 150 and 30 this way, 150 and 30 this way. Okay? So because of the supplementary concept, that's what creates vertical angles being congruent. So your vertical angles are these ones that are opposite of each other or diagonal from each other. Okay? They're formed by the vertical lines. All right? So the two key concepts is, number one, they are formed from intersecting lines. Okay, and I'm being specific here by saying intersecting lines because we talked about lines not being bent. And number two is that they are diagonal from each other. All right? All right. Now, first theorem. It is called the vertical angle theorem. Okay, we will eventually abbreviate that as VAT. V-A-T. V for vertical, A for angle, T for theorem. The vertical angle theorem tells us something about vertical angles. Well, you should see it already. What's true about our vertical angles? What's true about 150 and 150? They are the same. So the vertical angle theorem basically says that vertical angles are congruent. Okay, and we're especially going to use that concept when we get to chapter 4 and we start talking about proofs. Okay, vertical angles are congruent. We'll even do it a little bit in chapter 3 with proofs. Okay, so vertical angles are congruent. All right, the next page up at the top. Okay, practicing our word problems, incorporating some literacy. Okay. Two angles form a linear pair. See if you can draw a picture for the first sentence. Two angles form a linear pair. Draw a picture for that. Hopefully you have something along the lines of this. Linear pair means straight line, two angles. Okay? Next, the measure of one angle is 5 times the other. Well, do we know what the measure of the other is? If we don't know what it is, what do we label it as? X. Okay. So the measure of one angle is 5 times that.
5x.
5x. Okay. All right. So based upon our picture now, I need an equation. Sam? All right. So you finished this sentence. 5x plus x is equal to, what'd you say? I thought he heard 90. Do you guys want to say 90 or you want to say 180 because a linear pair is 180 or supplementary? Okay. So now from here you easily see 6x equals 180. X is equal to 30. Now it does say find the measure of each angle. So if one of the angles is 30, what's the other angle? 150. All right. So is 30 times 5 150? Is 30 plus 150 equal to 180?
Yes.
All right. So both criteria are met. So I just want to point out to you, what if for some reason someone had said 20 as x? What's 5 times 20?
That's 100.
That's 100. Is 100 plus 20 equal to 180? No. So no other x value will work. The only correct x value that will work will be 30. Okay? All right. Last question. Okay? Easiest question of all. If angle 1 is 80 degrees, let's start out with angle 3. What's angle 3? 80 degrees. What's angle 2? 100 degrees because they're supplementary. What's angle 4 now? 100 degrees. Notice the opposite angles will always be congruent. Vertical angles are always congruent. Okay? All right, so now, little checklist here. Okay, did we accomplish our objective of angle relationships? What does complementary mean? Add up to 90. Supplementary? 180. What are adjacent angles? Next to each other. What's a linear pair? Okay. Two angles that form a line. They're next to each other. They're supplementary. They're adjacent and supplementary. And the last one, what's true about vertical angles? They're the same. Okay? So that's basically today's concept.